This video is the first of its kind.
Real privilege to be out there doing what I love with the people that I love.
Vlog week 2. We're back. That's a little better. Vlog week 2. I'm going to say right off the bat, this vlog is not perfect. If I had another week, another 2 weeks, if I had more time and it wasn't getting posted today, I started recording on Monday and it snowed that day. So you'll see it's snowing. And all the cinematic you see was shot on Monday because I had the day off. And this is Saturday, so it's going up today. It may be late, but I'm going to get it posted today. Where do I begin? I was just watching another YouTuber who, other YouTubers out there, I'm sure you're really familiar with Peter McKinnon's work. He's a photographer, videographer, travel enthusiast, and has been a YouTuber for a long time. It's really inspired my work, and honestly, like, his channel and videos are kind of a touchstone for me. So I was just taking a look at his newest one that says, remembering how to vlog. And it comes at a good time for me because I think yesterday was National Quitters Day. It was like the first day where statistically after the new year, people who made New Year's resolutions bow out or they start to feel unmotivated, which, hey, there's no shame. The new year, it's like syllabus week, right? Like you boom, 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 boom. These are the things that you got to accomplish over the next 10, 12 months or whatever. And you just want to get it all done right now and charge straight into it. Well, that's really like not feasible. That's not practical, right? Like as much as you want it to, like you can't accomplish everything at once. And that is what this week's vlog is about. It's about doing it. I need to check if there's a memory card in this camera. Okay, good. There's a memory card in it, and I remembered where I was. This video, excuse me, it's been very cold here, and I've been running in 20-degree weather. It's just like wrecking my lungs. So I'm so proud of how it turned out, because it's a compilation of a lot of different things that I've wanted to do and start to practice for years, honestly. This is probably a good time for me to break down like the tools that I'm using to shoot this video right now. The interview pieces that you're seeing right here, those are shot on Sony FS5 Mark IIs, and the rest of the video, the cinematic shots that you're seeing, like the coffee sequence, and the silhouette in the bathroom and such, that's all the Mark II. Some of the other stuff is my A7R III, which is a mirrorless by Sony. For this vlog, I also busted out a lens that I don't use very often. It's part of a kit of Canon SLR cinevised FD lenses. They're older lenses that were designed for film cameras that have been adapted to fit modern EF sensors. And on the Sony bodies, I'm actually adapting them a second time with either a Metabones or a Sigma adapter. And then there are a few shots out there, like the running sequence, where I didn't want to carry my camera, so it's just my phone. And this is the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Not the latest and greatest, you don't need it. Also, I'll probably talk about this a little bit later, but this little gadget is like the coolest thing I purchased last year. It's a magnet. This is a wireless magnetic charger, clips right on, and it's a little stand. It's just like so cool. Anyway, this video is not perfect. Some of the colors aren't quite where I want them to be. The shots maybe aren't as tight. Maybe they're not the best version of themselves, or maybe some of the sound isn't synced, but that's not the point. It's 2025. Perfection is overrated, because the problem with perfection is when it comes to creating, you are probably going to be your worst enemy. You can have a goal, and that's fantastic, and you can strive for a really, really high quality polished product, but the reality is like, that's not really what people are looking for these days. Like if you look and watch YouTube experts or vlogging experts, like something that they're saying right now is people are interested in the process. They're interested in the grit, setting the camera up, getting a peek at behind the scenes. Like you see this in commercials now too. Like that fourth wall has never been as thin as it is today, because people are so aware, mostly because of this and the capabilities of this. People are so aware of what it takes, to a degree at least, to put something like this together. So Before I get into the rest of the video, I think this is probably one of my tips for the week. It's like perfection is overrated, and it's more important to just deliver. Make it as good as it needs to be. For me, this week, despite the imperfections of this cinematic vlog, I couldn't be happier with it. And here's why. One goal that I've set forth for myself, and it's one that I've had for a really long time, but it's also one that's held me back because it is lofty. The music that you hear behind these vlogs are my creations as well. Something that I've found that I've really enjoyed and am striving for in the long term is like being able to produce my own soundscape for my video work. A disclaimer though, like I'm not someone that's formally trained in music. I'm learning as I go. It's something actually that just my friends and I love to do when we do all come together. Like over the past decade, really, we've all just started playing music around the campfire and creating with the tools and instruments that we have. And they're some of my like most fond memories, and I know they will continue to be. So on a personal level, that's something that pushes me every day to want to be better at making music. And that's one thing that happens in this video. It's probably happening on screen right now, actually. But before I get into that, let me like backtrack before I forget about what all I want to talk about in this video. Monday was my day off. So I woke up, I got dressed. Currently I'm training for a Frisbee season, so I'm running at least a mile every day. So I did that in the morning. It was very slippery, it was very snowy, but I got my run out of the way. And then I came back, took a shower, got ready. I even got a little bit creative. There's this spiral hanging shell fixture in the bathroom, and I got a pretty cool shot of that. To me, it kind of resembles rain or water falling, like the shower. Spent some time grooming in the bathroom, brushing my teeth. And then after that, I went downstairs and got a sequence shot that I have been trying to shoot for a long time. It's something I always love seeing because coffee and creation are like hand in hand. There are very few artists I know that don't enjoy coffee. Not only its consumption, but the process of making good coffee. I think there's a pretty deep appreciation of that specifically for artists. So the sequence is just me making coffee and trying to make that as cinematic as possible. So I made some coffee. I sat down. I thought about what other shots I wanted and what else I wanted to accomplish in the day, including making the track. And then I went upstairs and got at it. I sat down with the week 1 project file. I made a copy of it, labeled it week 2, and just started diving in, clearing out some of the stuff that I knew wasn't going to make it, and using the existing template to rinse and repeat. But somewhere in the middle of that, I quickly had to transition because I had a spark, and I knew that in that moment I was about to just hammer out the track. I had a good idea of how I wanted this video to sound, something calm, a little bit mysterious, melancholy, acoustic. So I sat down with Ableton. I started with just a simple 4/4 loop, and then added some pads, some atmospheric pads, some chimes. And then the most exciting part for me was, from that point, I picked up my favorite guitar, sat down, and just started playing. I started off by adding a little bit of a extra rhythm layer by tapping the body, tapping the low E, and then just strumming. And that made that kind of clicky beat that you hear, and you can see right here. And once I had identified that, I started recording. And this is kind of an ode to how I want these videos to be set up, because a week is not a lot of time, right? It's not a lot of time to conceptualize, sit down, shoot, edit, the whole bit. So I don't want these to be, I didn't set up a whole soundproof mic system. I used the tools that I could get to immediately. And in this case, it was my phone. And I actually discovered a really, really cool thing. If you have Ableton Live on your computer and you're editing on a Mac and you have an iPhone, you can set that up. If you open your settings, you can set it up to where your phone will record directly into Ableton. And honestly, like I said, it's not perfect, but it was quick, it was at my disposal, and it worked really well. So from that point, I went and recorded that extra rhythm layer, laid that down, edited it, and then once that was done, I started just soloing a little bit over that, and those are the high notes that you hear in the backtrack. And, again, I can't reiterate enough, it's not perfect, but for me, it's exactly what I was after, which is so, so exciting. So I guess that's tip number 2 for this week. Look within and use the tools that are at your disposal. I totally understand the want for more gear, the want for a better mic or a new camera, a new synthesizer, a new lens, whatever it is. I understand that, but truly, you're going to get more fulfillment out of looking at the things that you already have in your toolbox, in your arsenal, and pushing those things to their creative limits. Because at the same time, you're going to be pushing yourself, growing, and it's going to ultimately be more satisfying, not only when you finish whatever project or product you're working on, but when you do make that upgrade, when you do get that new lens or that new camera body or that new piece of software, that new computer or whatever, when you do lock that down, it's going to feel more deserved. It's going to feel like you really earned it because you did. There's one point where I cough in the middle of it, this track, but I kind of like it. I think I'm going to leave it in. But for the time being, make the most out of what you have at your disposal. So moving forward, one thing is like, I can't promise that all of these videos are going to be this elaborate. I mean, we're talking about 12 minutes of content here, and it's essentially like a short film. This is like a morning to night progression of one day this year in my life. And that took a lot. That was a full day dedicated to this. And in some ways it kind of felt like stolen or borrowed time, because there was other things that I could have been doing with that time, but that's part of the balance. I posted this on Threads and I'll just reiterate it here, and let's call it another tip, like finding the balance between your personal projects and client work and like your day job. That's an art, not a science. It's tough on some days, it really is. Because most of the time, if you're anything like me, like this is where you want to be, right here. You don't want to be spending time just making $1 or distracted by another thing. You know how much effort and time it takes to get on this journey and get to where you want to go. So any time spent doing other things can feel unsatisfying to a degree, but that's part of it. So finding that balance is key. It takes time to master, just like time management in general, but I promise that as you do more and more of this and you continue to show up, you'll get better at it, and you'll master it in your freelance work. You'll master it in your YouTube content creation. You'll master it in the other parts of your life that, while maybe they're not this, and sometimes they feel like a distraction, they are equally as important and they deserve your attention. So don't ignore those things. Don't ignore your health. Certainly don't ignore your loved ones, your friends. Build in time for those things too, because they fill your bucket in different ways and they're part of the energy that you can bring back to your creative process and fold into that. There's another tip, I guess. And all in all, I think that's about it. This video has been a joy to make. It took a lot longer. I imagine this coming weeks is probably going to be a little bit shorter and less involved. But in the interest of celebrating the wins, we're past the statistical quitters day. Week 2 is done, and I'm happy to report that like the habits that are being developed here are showing results, not only internally for me, but externally too. And as always, I really, really appreciate you watching this. If you've made it this far in the video, I consider you one of the biggest supporters of the channel. So thank you to you right there, you. If you're new too, welcome. Thank you for checking it out. Please drop a comment below how you found my channel. If you're coming from Threads, I really want to know. If you have a YouTube channel, please put a link in either Threads or in the comments, or send it to me somehow, because I want to support you in your journey too. And yeah, that's, I think, where I'll leave it. This last little sequence was all shot on the A7R III. It's all handheld stuff. It was snowing. So this is just like a little street style walking footage, because snow is pretty. It actually snowed again today. None of that footage is gonna make it in, because I gotta sit down and edit this thing right now if I hope to get it done in the next 9 hours. But I will. You'll see it. I hope you like it. If you don't, that's okay. Roast me in the comments, I suppose. And yeah, week 2. We're vlogging. We're done here. Like and subscribe.